What's up, Grace Girls? Welcome to the Allow Yourself Grace podcast, where we focus on helping Black women change their lives by discarding negative thoughts, pivoting in the right direction, and shifting their mindset through cultivating a trauma free lifestyle. I'm your host, Courtney Christten, educator, content creator, life coach, counselor, and mental health enthusiast living in Houston, Texas. I created the Allow Yourself Grace podcast because I wanted to create a space for Black women to share their thoughts, feelings, and stories that make them who they are without fear of judgment. Allow Yourself Grace provides emotional support and encouragement within the Grace Girls community for women in need of non biased opinions from women other than family and friends. Personal development, self care, career, faith are among many of the topics we will discuss on this platform. Allow Yourself Grace podcast is here to encourage Black women to live unapologetically and thrive in being authentically who they are and were designed to be, an entire vibe. No topics are off limits. We will cover it all. Now, grab a notebook, pen, sit back, and enjoy the show. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. I'm getting white stuff from this pillow all over me. Welcome back to another episode of the Allow Yourself Grace podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Yeah, I'm back. So here we go. Let's get right into the episode. So I have been taking some time to really just think through a lot of things. And one of the things that's been on my mind is when we as people struggle to get that extra motivation, right? The extra, like, I'm ready to get up and go get it. And we all go through this throughout the year from time to time. It's like sometimes you just need an extra push. And I've been praying for God to just give me some clarity. And so with the clarity, I'm like, wow, the word he gave to me was the life you want is going to cost you. The life you want is going to cost you. I had to sit in that for a moment. You know, sometimes when we ask God for a word and it's not what we want to hear, we really have to let it like sink in and resonate with us. And so I've been sitting in that word and oh my God. I want to read a quote because once God gives me a word, I kind of like to just meditate on it, just do research on it. And the quote that I came across when I was looking for things and kind of like just meditating on the word, the quote was, "Your new life is going to cost you your old one. It's going to cost you your comfort zone and your sense of direction. It's going to cost you relationships and friends." I'm going to read that one more time. Your new life is going to cost you your old one. It's going to cost you your comfort zone and your sense of direction. It's going to cost you relationships and friends. Wow. And when I thought about that, the scripture that I equated with that is Matthew 16 and 24 through 26. It says, "Then Jesus said to his disciples, 'If any of you wants to be my follower, you must give up your own way. Take up your cross and follow me. If you try to hang on to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you will save it. And what do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? Is anything worth more than your own soul?'" Wow. So we have to be able to come to grips with, if I want something new, I have to give up something. And, you know, the selfish part of us wants to do what we want to do. And every time we decide that we're going to do what we want to do, God comes back and he's like, "No, You're not going to do what you want to do. You're going to do what I told you to do. You're going to do what I called you to do. And if you choose not to do that, then there's going to be some consequences for your actions. And as humans, we're naturally stubborn. Like we're naturally groomed to my way, no way. I'm living my life. I'm doing me. And that's all fine and dandy. But let me tell you one thing about God. When He calls you to do something, when He has an assignment on your life, He's not going to let you choose to do what you want to do. He's only going to let you do what you want to do for so long. And this message that I wanted to share with you guys has been coming back to me in my life. It has been fulfilling and just coming back to me in the lives of people around me. And I'm just like, I have to get here on my platform and get this word out, because God is like, I told you this a month ago and you still don't have it out. Like, what's going on? And this is an assignment for me. Like, this is not something that I had planned 5 years ago to say, oh, I'm going to start a podcast. That's not what I had planned. Trust me. And I'm the type of person that I will sit on my gifts, not necessarily sit on my gifts, but I will have gifts that no one knows about. Like, I will keep them private. And God is like, no, this is not the season for privacy. This is the season to continue to show up and to continue to share what I give you. Because again, we all have an assignment. And so the people that are assigned to me, I have to make sure that they're getting the word that God wanted me to share with them. And so I say all that to say, if God is telling you to do something or He's giving you the vision for something, you need to make sure that you fulfill it, because if not, there's always consequences. And so in those moments where we're wondering why things aren't going the way we desire, we're wondering why we don't have the things that we want, we have to take a step back and think about, okay, am I doing the things that I need to do to get to what God has for me? Am I fulfilling the vision? Am I doing it out of love? Am I doing it unto the glory of Him, right? Or am I doing it for me? Am I doing it for validation from other people? Am I doing it so that, oh, I can prove to this person that I can do it because they didn't believe in me? But the only person you need to believe in you is God and you. He already knows that you can do it. So the first person is you. You have to believe that you can do it. You have to believe that you can fulfill the assignment that God gave you. So it starts with self-belief. It starts with, I have to get this done by any means necessary. I have to get this done because this is what God told me to do. And I have to make sure that I'm fulfilling the assignment that He has on my life, and that I'm touching the people that He needs me to touch. And everything that I do is unto the glory of Him. So with that, I can't continue to live the way I used to live. I can't continue to do the things I used to do. I can't continue to go the places I used to go or interact with the people I used to interact with if they're holding me back. If they're keeping me from the assignment, nothing or no one should keep you from the assignment, because the assignment is what God gave you to fulfill, and you must fulfill it. Otherwise, you will suffer the consequences. And I'm not telling you this because I just want to tell you something. I'm telling you this from a place of personal experience, a place of I've been there, I've done that. And so when I come on this platform, I like to make sure that I'm sharing personal experiences, but I'm also applying the things that God is telling me to tell you, that I'm also applying those things to my life. Okay. So let's get into what I have. And then we'll talk a little bit about how you can take the first step toward making that change and making that sacrifice. The life you want will cost you. That phrase, I said phase, but phrase, that phrase is so powerful because one thing about me, I don't want to give up anything. I'm a little cheap sometimes, right? I don't want to pay for stuff. And it's like you have to give up something. That's why it's so easy to stay in your comfort zone, because when you're in your comfort zone, you have everything, right? You're comfortable, you're relaxed. That's why, like, when you're at home and you have access to your things, you can do what you want to do. You're a little bit more comfortable than you would be if you went to someone else's house. It's kind of like that. Like, you're never gonna all the way relax like you would at your own house. And so when we think about the life we want costing us, it's like, no, I'm gonna have to give up going on trips every month. I'm gonna have to give up going to parties every month to do something that I know I need to do, that God told me to do. I'm gonna have to give up time to study because I want to do this. Like, yes, sis, bro, if you're listening, you gotta give up something. Like, something's gonna cost you, whether it costs you time, it may cost you money, it may cost you some friends, but it's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you something. Anytime you're following the assignment of Christ, you're gonna have to give up something. Whether that it's the old lifestyle of going out with your friends, partying, smoking, drinking, you're going to have to give up something in order to really tap in to the life that God has promised you and that He has for you. Here's why. So we're going to start with time and commitment. Pursuing your dreams demands investment of time. Okay. So that may mean that on Thursdays, you usually go out for happy hour. That may mean, like, when I get off today or when I get done doing what I'm doing, I have to go home and put in some time into this passion, put in some time into this dream. I have to make time to record this podcast. So that's an investment of time. And, it's easy for me to say, oh, I'm busy, or, oh, I don't have this, or, oh, I'm not prepared, or all these excuses about why I can't do something because I'm not willing to make that sacrifice. And so it's going to cost you an investment of time. That's what I hear the most. I hear that from clients when I work with different clients that come into the studio and they have like these goals. They have something they want to fulfill, but the biggest thing that's in their way is like, oh, I don't have time. Oh, I have to check my schedule. Oh, I'm going to take a break. All these things limit you from really tapping into the fullness of the promises that God has for you. The next thing is the financial investment. We don't want to stop going out to eat. We don't want to stop going through drive-thrus. We don't want to stop, not going on trips, not showing up for every event. But if you think about it, the things that we say we don't have money for, because let's be real, some of these passions, some of these dreams, some of these things that God is calling you to do, it's going to cost you financially. And unfortunately, we live in a society where people want everything for free. We don't want to pay for nothing. We want the big house. We want the nice car. We want people to, give us things for free, help us for free, all those things we want access to, but we're not willing to invest. We're not willing to invest the time. We're not willing to invest the money. If you're not willing to invest the money, you're definitely not going to invest the time, because if it's free, you're going to feel like you got all the time in the world to do it whenever you want to do it, because it's not costing you anything, right? And when we think about it, like, man, I realize how all this stuff connects, but it really does. The way you think about anything to me is how you think about everything. Okay? How you think about everything that you care about. You know what I'm saying? And we really have to get in a space to where we feel comfortable sacrificing. It's going to cost you effort and hard work. Man, if I could, man, I encounter so many women, so many men that it's just like the grit and the grind is not there. It's not there. It's like the minute you face adversity, you're like, "Oh my God, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh my God, well, I can't do this because this happened." You know, we come up with everything other than a plan, other than a solution, other than, okay, I can do this. I may not be able to do all of this, but I can do this. Like, instead of that, we come up with an excuse for why we're not doing something, or excuse for, why we can't do something. Instead of, okay, let me take a moment. Let me think about this. What can I do? How can I make an effort? You know, or we want to find a person who is getting it right. They're hardworking, they're dedicated. We aspire to be like them. Keyword aspire. We aspire to be like them, but then when we find out what they really have to do to maintain that lifestyle, to walk in their calling, fulfill their purpose, when we get to the bottom of what they really have to do, you're not willing to do it. You're not willing to do it. And so you're like, "Oh man, I thought this was gonna be easy. I thought so. Nah, I ain't gonna be able to do that because I gotta do this." Like, we're not willing to make the sacrifice. You're not understanding all of the sacrifices that they're making. They may be missing time with family. They may be working long hours. They may be getting up earlier. And when you get to the core of what it really takes to be successful, what it really takes to walk in your calling and fulfill your purpose, it's like, nah, bro, I'm not up for the assignment. I'm not up for the assignment. And I know I'm walking real heavy in this episode, but it's just, this is the time of the year because we're getting ready to enter May, y'all. Like, wow. We're already deep in the year. And we started the year with all these goals and all these things that we wanted to do. We didn't give ourselves any deadlines. We made that vision board. We wrote down, some of you even wrote these goals down, but we haven't looked at them since. We haven't looked at that vision board since. We haven't checked anything off. And why? Because we haven't invested any time. We haven't even put any effort or work towards those goals. And we dang sure haven't invested any money. Some of you, I'm not saying it's everybody, but it's the majority. When I have conversations with people, it's the majority of people have either something negative that's stopping them. They don't hear themselves though. I'm listening. Something that negative or an excuse. And it's like we have to learn how to shift our mindset so that we can really start to enjoy the fruits of our labor, because we got to put in work, right? And so we can really start to tap into the life that God wants us to have. Because I don't know about you, but I don't believe that God wants you to be broke. I don't believe that He wants you to have a poverty mindset. I don't believe that He doesn't want you to be fulfilled, that you get up every day and dread going to the place that you're going. I don't believe that He wants us to live a life like that. That's not what He promised us. And so, in order to really tap into the promises, we have to be willing to make the sacrifice. It's going to cost us something. Nothing is free. It's going to cost us something. You can't give up because you're overwhelmed with finances. You can't give up because this thing didn't work out. You already failed before. So it's not like it's something you never experienced before. When life is slapping you upside your head, just make sure you keep showing up. You keep making that sacrifice because God sees all and he knows all. And when you pray and you ask him for guidance and to lead the way, and you're not looking over here and looking over there and stopping and using excuses and being negative about everything, he sees that. He sees that. And I truly believe that he's going to allow you to prosper when the timing is right. Because he promised us that. He said, I wish upon all things that you shall prosper. He don't want us to be in a place of depression, a place of poverty, but it starts with your mindset. It starts with the sacrifice, and it starts with you willing to say, I believe that I can do this. I believe that I got this. I believe that no one's going to outwork me because I'm going to show up every day for myself how I want God to show up for me and how I want others to show up for me. But unfortunately, there's a number of people who just want to blame everybody for everything. They want to say, oh, well, you're not helping me, or God doesn't care about me. He's forgotten about me. No, but what have you done for you and God lately? And what have you done for others? Keep showing up. Keep showing up. Just keep showing up. Keep sacrificing. God sees it. He sees it. And I promise you, he will honor it. The next thing I have is opportunity costs. Choosing one path often means foregoing others. When you prioritize certain goals, you may have to sacrifice alternative opportunities. Okay, so what that means is just sometimes we're not able to do everything. We can't do everything. We're only one person, and something may have to wait, but that's okay. That's okay. It's not saying that you're never going to get it done. It just means that, okay, let me fulfill this and then I'll move to the next thing. And so I think with that, it's just about finding that balance. It's going to cost you something. Like, so it may cost you not being able to work on that project right now, but I'm working on this project. Okay. So maybe you need to take a moment to say, okay, I'm going to focus on this and then I'm going to move to this. The next thing is personal growth and development. Achieving your goals often requires personal growth and development. You may need to confront some fears. And so fear is so powerful. If you let it take over your mind, if you let it take over your heart, it will stop you. It will definitely stop you from living the life that you want to live. Okay? At some point, we got to take a risk, y'all. We have to take a risk. What's the worst that can happen? We're going to fail? Okay, so what? I've failed before. I've been depressed. I've been at the bottom. Okay, let's go. I know how to get from there because I've been there before. I know how to get up off the floor because I've been there before. And so we can't be so scared because the first thing we tried didn't work out, or the first thing we thought God told us to do didn't work out. We can't be afraid to try again. That's what life is about. It's about experiencing. It's about learning. It's about growing. And, my husband spoke Saturday at an event. And one of the things he said was, we're not taking L's, we're taking lessons. And so it's all a lesson. It's all a learning experience. Life is about learning. God is teaching us things every day. There's signs that comes our way, and we see these signs. Some of you are missing the signs. So take a moment to just stop and just pay attention to the little things. Like, pay attention to things that are happening in your life. And if you feel like nothing's happening, start asking God for guidance. Start asking God to help you discern his voice, help you really hear from him. But for that, you got to clear some things. You got to clear your mind. You got to come with an open heart. You have to come and sit in the presence of him and really just get to know him for yourself. Because this thing we're talking about is a relationship thing. If you don't have a relationship with him, it's going to be difficult for you to maneuver through a lot of things in life. Because what I'm finding is that people are so lost in this world that they're plugging into everything. Their sources of power and energy and spirituality are coming from places that are demonic. And so when we really get to the bottom of these things, it's like, when are we going to get back to the cross? When are we going to get back to Jesus? He covers us. He keeps us. When are we going to get back to that? Many of us, we grew up in church, and this is a conversation I had with my husband. We've been having for the past couple of weeks because we've just been seeing different things. And it's like, when we grew up to where, we were taught the Bible, we were taught biblical principles, and, we were taught it. When you got older, you made the choice whether you wanted to go to church, whether you want to be involved in church, whether you still believe. But at the end of the day, the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go. And, we didn't have a choice. It wasn't a choice thing for us. It was incorporated into our lifestyle. We went, we learned, we participated, we were children. We were under the guidance of our parents. And these are the things that they incorporated into our lives. And so when you get older, you have the opportunity to make a choice what you want to do. But I'm just so thankful that they trained me up, right? So now I have a choice, but I know about him. I know who he is. I have my own relationship with him because I was taught these things. The scary thing for me, I'm going somewhere with this, guys, I promise. The scary thing for me right now in the world today, in today's society, is that parents have gotten older and they made the choice not to go to church, which is totally up to them, but they're not training their children either to do it. Their children know nothing about the Bible. I'm telling you, it's hard to fight the enemy by yourself. It's hard to fight the enemy by yourself. The world is just so, cold and vicious. And if you don't have him, I'm just like scared, and it's not the kid's fault, but I just really wish that I'm a traditional girl. So I just really wish that we could get back to the basis, because the basics, I'm sorry. The kids don't have, they have no substance. They have no foundation. I think that part of my life helped me strengthen my foundation. It helped me strengthen my foundation, and it really developed my relationship. And as I got older, it's up to me to continue to pour into that. And I'm just scared. It really scares me, especially when I hear adults talking and they have no clue. They're, you know, tapping into crystals, and they are, seeing witches. They're doing all this other stuff. And it's like, wow, 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 wow. When are we going to get back to the cross? That's all I'm saying. Okay. I'm gonna get off of that, but y'all know what I'm talking about. And I talked about risk taking. That was next on my list. I talked about that. And relationships and social life. Sometimes pursuing your dreams can strain relationships. It can require you to prioritize your goals over social activities. In my own life, I've seen this over the past years. It's just that, I'm working on my goals, I'm working on things, and so I may not be as social, I may not be out, you may not see me as much, but I just have things that I'm working on. And that's a sacrifice in itself, because we all want to be around our friends. We all want to see our family from time to time. But sometimes, the life you want, again, is going to cost you. It's going to cost you. And, you just have to continue to remain true to the assignment. In conclusion, ultimately, while the life you want may come with cost and sacrifices, the fulfillment and satisfaction of achieving your dreams can make it all worthwhile. It's about understanding what you're willing to invest and be prepared to make the necessary sacrifices along the way. We're all human, and I've said this throughout this whole episode. We're all human. We're all going to make mistakes. We're all coming in with our own narrative about life. We're coming in with our own thoughts on life. We're all coming in with different experiences, and so that brings different opinions about life, and that's totally okay. It's totally okay. But if you want to live a life of promise, you want to tap into the full promises of what God has for you, it's going to take action. It's going to take sacrifice. It's going to take getting around people that are going to be able to uplift you when you can't uplift yourself. It's going to take having a personal relationship with God, because only you know what you and God talk about. You can be married, you can be single, you can be a person who has a ton of best friends. But I encourage you to get to know God for yourself and have a personal relationship with Him. Because when you die, you're going to die by yourself. You're going to die by yourself. And the Bible clearly says that it's appointed to men to die. We're all going to leave here. What do we want that dash? So you have the date you were born and you have the day that you're going to exit this world. In between there is going to be that obituary that they have in your funeral program. What do you want it to say? What do you want to leave behind? Many of us, many of us have kids. There's a number of people who have kids, and there's a number of people who are like me who don't have kids. And the scary thing for me is that people who do have kids think that their kids are their legacy. Their kids are a part of their legacy. I definitely agree with that. But your kids are not your entire legacy. What are you going to leave them with? What mark are you going to leave on this world? When I leave, I plan to have books here. This book's still going to be here, so my knowledge is still going to be here. These videos and these podcasts that you're listening to, you'll be able to still hear my voice. This is a legacy. Like, somebody could watch this years from now and learn from me. So what I'm saying is, what are you doing to leave your mark on this world? I want you to be unforgettable, because it's easy to forget about people when they leave, when they're no longer here. Y'all know it. We have people who have died in our families. Do you think about them every day? No, not unless they're like your mom or something. But if they've done something great, you're not going to forget them. If they left you with something, if they poured something into you, you're not going to forget them. And so when we're thinking about the life we want to design for ourselves, we don't have to not only think about us, but we have to think about the things that we're leaving, the things that we are doing to help other people, and we want other people to learn from us. So think about that. How do I want to leave this world? What do I want to leave here? What am I willing to sacrifice to design the life that I want to live? Okay. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. I thank you guys so much for tuning in, for always supporting. Yeah, I'm just super excited about sharing with you guys the things that God has been sharing with me and has been putting on my heart. I promise every episode won't be heavy, but these are things that I think people don't think about. The sacrifice, the cost. Everything's not free, guys. you're going to have to pay, whether it's in time, finances, sacrifices of going places. All those things are a part of the cost to be great. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. If you are listening in on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast episodes, be sure to follow us and leave us a 5-star review so that I can move up in the ranks in my category. I love you, love you, love you. I'll see you guys in the next episode. And always, always allow yourself grace. Bye. Well, guys, that concludes our episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Allow Yourself Grace podcast. For additional information about today's episode, please click the link in the show notes below. To learn more about our Grace Girls community and other resources we have to offer, head over to www.allowyourselfgrace.com. Until next time, Grace Girls, I love you all. Be blessed and continue to strive for success.